Vinyl grails, check. Rare records, check. Cool CD box sets, check. This is a video of what I consider holy grail records and collector's pieces, so if you're into that, keep on watching. Hi friends, it's Hannah the Omaha Introvert back with a new video. One that I've been wanting to film for a year, possibly a year and a half. First of all, thank you so much for the comments that you left on my last comeback video of sorts. I wasn't expecting such a huge response. It really warmed my heart. So yeah, just thank you for tuning back in and welcoming me back. So this is a Grails video, aka early or original pressings of records I've been eyeing for a decent length of time, or albums that are favorites of mine that are now in my collection. Several are worth a bit of change or are more difficult to acquire than your regular trip to the record store. Some of these are also CD box sets. I do still buy CDs, so yeah, if you're new here, let me introvert myself. Thanks to Tommy at Main Riffs on Instagram for the catchphrase, as delightfully corny as it is. And I've been here on YouTube since 2018, talking all about music and what's in my vinyl collection. Don't think that what I'm going to show you, don't think that I accumulated it all at once or I bought it all at once. There's no way, okay? Some of these might even go back to 2 years, but I've been holding on to these specifically for this video. I've been kind of stockpiling them, you can say. What better way to make another video than to talk about vinyl grails, right? So, yeah, I'm guessing if you're here, you know what I like, what I typically show, and that kind of music most likely probably resonates with you too. This is really fun for me, and I'm super pumped about all these, and I can barely contain my excitement, so we're gonna jump in right now. So as far as the order, these are all gonna be kind of mixed up, you know, to keep it spicy. The few I'm gonna show at the end are probably more what I consider top tier, but I mean, let's be honest, these are all grails. So I'm going to start with one of my all-time faves, and this is Veruca Salt's American Thighs. This is an OG UK pressing. Yeah, I've talked about this album many times, and I found this one for a steal from one of my favorite UK online vendors. And yeah, it's just like the perfect 90s alternative album, kind of grungy, you know, lots of fuzzy guitars. Nina and Louise are one of my favorite rock duos of all time. Their harmonies, their guitar playing, their songwriting, they just gel. And the end of the song, Wolf, the vocals on that, it gives me goosebumps every time. And I love listening to this anytime. It's a classic. So it'd be nice if we got more from them in the future, but we did get Ghost Notes, which was their reunion album back in 2015. That one was solid and very enjoyable, by the way. So yeah, nice to have this original in my collection now. Next is a power pop release. So this is the Scruffs, Wanna Meet the Scruffs, and this is on Power Play right there. So I found this down at 402 Vinyl. It's a local store, and this was released in 1977. It's definitely not one you see every day. Power pop from Memphis. This may not necessarily be a grail, but it's cool enough to talk about in this video because it is pretty rare. Such an underrated record, full of short and raw tunes, full of hooks. Yeah, just classic power pop, worthy of hearing. And I do know about them, or I first found out about them through John Borak's book, Shake Some Action 2.0. This is like my power pop Bible. Seriously, I don't know if you can get this anymore. John Borak, Shake Some Action 2.0. So yeah, he counts down 200 of the greatest power pop albums. So that's a really good resource to have, and that's how I found out about the Scruffs. So yeah, nice to have found this locally. Let's move on to one of my favorite bands. This would be a top 20 band for me. This is The Church. This is an original Australian pressing of Seance, and I also found this locally at Grapefruit Records. How exciting to have found this there. So that's one of my favorite local stores. I've talked about this band a lot. I also have a late 80s US press of this album that sounds pretty good. But, you know, since I really love their early albums, I thought I'm going to pick up this Australian OG. I mean, why not? So I love anything and everything by The Church. I think I also showed this on my Instagram page, but spoiler, their album from this year is really, really good. It's like a companion album to their last album, The Hypnagogue. Also, I really love just the goth cover of this record. It's one of my favorite covers, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. There's also an alternate cover that's blue. I've never seen the blue copy out in the wild. My favorite tunes would be Fly, Electric Lash, It's No Reason, Dropping Names. A lot of people complain about the drum sound on this record. It's still one of their better albums. Perfect marriage between like jangle pop and synths. And this came out in 1983. Alright, I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but I did find 2 Japanese pressings of 2 records by the Jam. So the first is All Mod Cons, and this is a 1986 reissue. And then I found Sound Effects, which is probably my favorite album by them. You know, these are probably my 2 favorites, to be honest, but if you had to make me choose, I'd probably pick Sound Effects, just because, I mean, honestly, it plays like a greatest hits of sorts. But yeah, it depends on the day. So I got both of these at 402 Vinyl, and I want to give out a shout out to Mike and Kelly, who own the store, because their store is really cool. So yeah, I already had copies of these albums, early or originals. So yeah, this one doesn't have the Obi strip, this one does. The Jam are a top tier band for me. I'd say in the last year or 2 they have inched their way into my top 20 for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll do an updated top 20 or 25 bands list, like my favorites, but if there's any interest for that, let me know. The one that sounds better to me is Sound Effects. This is a superb pressing. Yeah, so I'm really glad I picked those up. Alright, here's when I got the Fall Omaha record show from last year. I don't think I did a video on last fall's Omaha record show, but this is a badass record. This is Washing Machine from Sonic Youth. This is an original US pressing, gatefold, just in excellent shape. This would probably be in my top 5 from Sonic Youth. Do not ask me for a ranking. I'm not sure I'd be able to do that, but yeah, this, I would say safely that this would be in my top 5. This is a very dynamic pressing. It sounds great, but I don't have any other pressings to compare it to. I didn't buy one of their Universal reissues of it. I have a few other reissues, I think, issued by Universal, and some sound better than others, but this one's awesome. So, by the way, have you guys heard Kim Gordon's new album from this year? I really like it. I bought it. It's in my best of list, spoiler. But this particular record was not immediate love for me. It took many listens for it to grow on me. But I love Because, Junkie's Promise, Washing Machine, Little Trouble Girl, and of course the masterpiece, The Diamond Sea. Yeah, that one's 20 minutes. It's something to hear. I'll just say that if you haven't heard it. Very cool to find an original of that. So continuing in the 90s vein, more of the noisy side of the 90s, but we're going into shoegaze territory now. So this is Medicine, and I found this reissue at the Des Moines record show. It might have been summer last year, but this is Shot Forth Self-Living. This is not an original. This is the 2012 reissue. I've never seen an original of it, so, but even this is quite rare. So very cool. Gatefold. It came with a CD as well, and there's a bunch of extras on this too, I will note. So I'm glad I found it, and yeah, got it at the Des Moines record show. So this band, your ears will explode with this. I probably shouldn't listen to them with headphones, but you gotta experience it. But check out the song Miss Drugstore if you're new. That's a great one to start with. As a side note, Medicine are the band that appeared in the movie The Crow. They had like a cameo in that. So with them you can hear a little bit of Velvet Underground, Jesus and Mary Chain, My Bloody Valentine, of course. it's like a marriage between pop and noise of the best kind. So yeah, check out Medicine. That was really cool to find. Let's go to post-punk now for a couple. So I've mentioned this one before, or this name, Fad Gadget, and this is an original UK press on Mute Records. Very hard to come by. Again, I got it from my favorite UK online vendor. I don't remember exactly where I heard of Frank Tovey and Fad Gadget, probably from you wonderful people here in this vinyl community. Like, I have heard about so many other artists and bands, but this is a magnificent debut. Fad Gadget is basically Frank Tovey, I forget how you pronounce it, but how to describe it is like, this is post-punk and synth pop. It's kind of twisted, innovative, and dark. So this was released in 1981, I believe. Yeah, I didn't write that down in my notes, and it doesn't say here, but I think it's either 1980 or 81. Fad Gadget and Depeche Mode toured together very early on, and I watched a documentary on Frank Tovey on YouTube probably 2 years ago. It really was a fascinating watch. If I can find the link to that, I'll post it down below if you want to kind of learn more about him. But the second side of this is a bit more experimental, I'd say. I was reading reviews of it, someone wrote, "This is what you get when you combine Gary Newman with Cabaret Voltaire." And yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. So check out Fad Gadget. This is the first album, Fireside Favorites. Pardon me, you guys. I am struggling here. Spilling stuff. Already getting disorganized with all I have to show. Yeah, here's the label. Very cool. Alright, let's move on to the next post-punk record. This is The Sound. All Fall Down. So this is an OG German press on WEA. I will show it right there. So I actually talked about this. I talked about the CD in one of my videos last year. I got this for $20 online from... I follow that record store on Instagram. Is it Permanent Records? But they post stuff every day, and you can like place dibs on it and yeah, have it shipped to you. If you're looking to get their first 3 albums, they are being reissued. I don't know about the rest of their catalog. I think most of their albums have been reissued in the past. Some of them are still pretty easy to get, but this one and Jeopardy and is it From the Lion's Mouth? Those are being reissued. So this and the first 2 have been very difficult to get reissues of, in my experience. I have already pre-ordered the reissue of Jeopardy, which I think comes out at the end of this month. I pre-ordered it on Amazon. If you're in the UK, I think Rough Trade, I think you can get it through there. But yeah, if you're looking to add their first 3 into your collection, they are being reissued. So get your pre-orders in, because like the other reissues are going for like $80+, the 2012 ones. So I'm not doing that. Thank you to Fast and Bulbous on Instagram for telling me about the reissues. That was very helpful information, and I thought, I can't keep that to myself. So if you guys are looking for the Sound reissues, they're coming out shortly. My Precious Idaho. So I've talked about this band probably a little bit too much on this channel. Their new album this year is gonna be on my best of 2024 list. This is their 3rd album. It came out in '96. This is an original UK pressing. It's called 3 Sheets to the Wind, originally released in '96. This is probably my favorite slowcore band of the 90s, and just one of my favorite bands, period. Fell in love with them when I was in college. By the way, they have a 90s box set coming out in December. I pre-ordered it like all the way back in March or something. It's gonna have this album. It's gonna have their first 3 albums in that box set. I think they're Caroline output. So there's also going to be like a bonus album of their EPs and 7-inch singles, and I'm just so excited for that. But yeah, this one actually does have some rockers on it, but they create just a gorgeous sound with the 4-string guitars, unique tunings. Their music really just takes me to another place. And Jeff Martin is a master of his craft. So this is like a star piece for my collection right here. A very moving record. Show the label. It's on Caroline right there. If you want to check out a song, check out Stare at the Sky. That's one of the first songs that I probably heard by them, 20 plus years ago. But that song is just beautiful on so many levels. This is a long video, you guys, but it's fun. So more shoegaze. So Curves, Doppelganger. So I talked about the reissue that came out last year. I really complained about the Music on Vinyl reissue of this. I traded it in. It was so bad. Sometimes Music on Vinyl does an okay job, but that pressing was horrendous, seriously. So avoid it. It was on orange vinyl, but this is an original UK pressing that I won off of eBay for a very advantageous price. So very happy about that. I also have the 2017 reissue, which actually sounds pretty decent. It sounded much better than last year's reissue. They're probably like, this bitch is like buying three copies of this album, 3+ copies, and it's because I love it. And sometimes I do like comparing pressings. For whatever reason, Lily's Dying, which is my favorite track on the album, it sounds like it was mixed differently than the rest of the tracks, and I don't know why that is. Maybe there's just like a small defect with my copy, but I was kind of bummed about that. But as a whole, this really does sound awesome. So the cover art of this, as twisted as it is, I love it. So yeah, this is like dance and electronica music kind of merged with shoegaze. There's this wall of sound thing going on that just sucks you in. And Tony Holliday's voice, very sexy and smooth. There's just so many layers to their music, like pulsing guitars. But yeah, her voice, that's one of the top things for me, what drew me in. So like I said, Lily's Dying, that's my favorite track. Horror Head is a very good one as well. Mixed by Alan Moulder. So I guess I'll show the vinyl. I didn't do that, did I? This is on Anxious Records. Curves, Doppelganger. Let's talk about The Cure, shall we? I'm not going to be talking about their new album right now in this video, but just know that it blew my socks off, and it will be in that best of 2024 video, okay? But let's talk about these ones first. So I got this. This is one I didn't have on vinyl at all, and I was so glad to finally add Pornography into my collection. That sentence sounds weird. The Cure's Pornography into my collection. So Fiction Records, like I said, it's a 1986 repress, but this is I think it's a good pressing. Show the back of it. This is a must-have goth post-punk record. It is a mood, literally. It is intense and dark. This is not poppy Cure. This is very dark Cure. So the cover just exemplifies the vibe. So many good songs on this. Hanging Garden, Siamese Twins, Figurehead, Strange Day. This is a must-have record, and yeah, seriously, I did not have it on vinyl. This is one of my last to add on vinyl from The Cure. And I will mention I did add the reissue of Wish into my collection as well in the last year, but I'm not showing it here. This one I found down at Grapefruit. I have a Back in Black pressing of The Hit on the Door. I think it is. I'm not going to dig it out at the moment, but this is a 1985 US Club Edition pressing for those who care about what specific pressing this is. And I'm kind of nerdy, I like that too. But I love just dark and gloomy Cure, and I love poppy, more upbeat Cure. And I can see how some would say this is like an uneven record, because there are a few uneven spots. I can't say any of the songs absolutely turn me off though. people are really mixed on this album, but I think some of their best songs are on here. So yeah, nice to have an early pressing of that. Toad the Wet Sprocket are next. So I have 2 originals to show you, and I will quickly mention that we saw Toad the Wet Sprocket with Vertical Horizon and Jim Blossoms this summer here in town. This was my 3rd time seeing Toad the Wet Sprocket live. I love them so much. It was my first time seeing the Jim Blossoms, who killed it, by the way. They sounded phenomenal live. So I don't think I've shown these. No, I don't think I've shown this one on my channel. I did show it on Instagram. So I found an original of Bread and Circus, and wow. I found this at the Des Moines Record Show. Whenever I have found the records, I pick them up. So I also have a reissue of Dulcinea, and the next one too, I'm going to show you. That's all that I have in vinyl, because they're just hard to find. So this is their first album from 1988. Bernie Grundman mastering, so it sounds just epic, and this is folky alternative, just such good music. If I ever find Pale on vinyl, that's also one of my biggest grails ever. I would die. But yeah, this is on Columbia. Very hard to find these. And then also locally, which stunned me, I found Fear, and this is an original. It was obviously not $6, by the way. That's a very old sticker, but yeah, I found this at Vinyl Cup, downtown record store. I was shocked. I saw them post this on Instagram, and I was like, oh, no way. And I know they don't hold albums for you, so I freaking rushed downtown, and I was able to get it, thankfully. I even scrambled to find stuff I could trade in, because I knew it was going to be a steep price, which it was, but the trade-in made it easier to bear. So this is an original 1991 US pressing. Also Bernie Grundman mastering. I'd be shocked if you hadn't heard any songs on here. They had several hits on this album. Walk on the Ocean, All I Want, Nightingale Song, I Will Not Take These Things for Granted. These are classics. Oh, this is so awesome to own. Right there. We have another local find that is huge for me. I found this at Grapefruit Records. Talked about this band before. Crucial album. So this is Wires, Chairs Missing. This is the pressing, original UK pressing with the lilac inner sleeve, I guess. But yeah, I've talked about them plenty of times on my channel. That's on Harvest. So I was able to use store credit for this, so I kind of cheated, but it took the strain off my wallet. But this is their second album. So their first 3 albums are the most highly rated in their catalog. However, you should explore beyond that too, because their recent albums are also really damn good. So out of their first 3, do you have a favorite, and is this one it? I don't know. It's really hard to pick out of those 3, but check out the songs. Outdoor Miner, I Am the Fly, of course, Used to, French Film Blurred. Yeah, there's tons of great ones on this. So yeah, this is post-punk 101, right? Clan of Xymox. So this one I talked about in a video last year where I showed a bunch of CDs that I wanted vinyl reissues of. This one still hasn't been reissued, so you know what? I decided to find an affordable copy, and I found this on Discogs. And I don't know why this hasn't been reissued yet. It's such a wonderful goth synth LP, and I guess it's also referred to as cold wave. I don't know. Some of the subgenres I'm not totally keyed into what the right terms are, but this is very atmospheric. Michelle, Agonized by Love, Masquerade, Backdoor. it's kind of one that took me a few listens to fall in love with, but their first 3 albums are so good, such fantastic LPs, and I still need their first one on vinyl. That one's really been hard to find for me. I have it on CD, but not on vinyl, but this might be my favorite out of those first 3. So Medusa by Clan of Xymox. Alright, I'm going to show some CD box sets, if that's okay. Some more rare ones. So, I got Susie and the Banshees Downside Up. Here, I took everything out just to make it easier. So, this is a 4 CD comp, 55 tracks in total. This is essential if you're a Susie fan. It has all their B-sides plus the Thorn EP. So B-side material from like 78 to 95, I believe. But it comes with this really cool booklet. Yeah, I'll show the rest of it soon. The only weird thing about it is like there's a lot of nothingness. There's a lot of blank space. You see what I mean? Like they have the lyrics, but they're so like they could have filled it with photos at least. It just seems like a waste of, I just don't understand that. But there is a really cool foreword by Susie herself in here. So yeah, if you ever find this and you need their B-sides, but you don't have their 12-inch singles, that's one to get. Okay, so Magazine. Magazine are probably in... Would they be in my top 3 favorite post-punk bands? I don't know, I have to ponder that. But this is their 3 CD box set from 2000, and I found this down at Homer's. And it had been on my Discogs wish list for years, seriously. And I found this used for a great price, way less than what Discogs has it listed for. So I think it was like $25. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of what it goes for on Amazon. Do not buy used CDs on Amazon, okay? Because you will stumble on a lot of crazy prices on there, like in their used marketplace. But anyway, this band, back to Magazine, this band really gets overlooked, just like the sound. Such talented band members, and the Peel Sessions disc on here, the 3rd disc, that's the highlight disc for me. The rest is great too, but the rest is separated like by era. So the rest is like B-sides, live and alternate versions of songs. But I just love this. This is a prize set in my collection. Very happy to have it. Someone told me, was it John on Instagram? I think so. He told me that their stuff is being reissued. So I'd get on that for sure, because those are reissues I didn't think would ever happen. So, oh, since we're doing box sets, before I forget, I did also get a copy of Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by Smashing Pumpkins. I guess I can pull this out really quick. Yeah, this is a must own, well done box set. I'm not going to take everything out. Lots of people have already shown it, so, but you actually probably saw this tucked away in my last video too, but I had to give it a mention. Okay, this one's huge for me, and I'm going to show you why. So, I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. This is the Lifehouse Chronicles box set by Pete Townsend. This came out in like 2000, pretty much a few years after I started becoming obsessed with The Who and everything Pete Townsend. So for new people watching my channel, Pete Townsend is my favorite artist of all time. The Lifehouse demos here are magic in my opinion. Many of them, and also in my opinion, many of those demos surpass the Who's Next studio album. Maybe that's just me. There's just something about how Pete recorded the demos. I mean, I can't get enough of them. So this is going to be hard to show. But yeah, a CD box set with the booklet. Oh, I didn't show you the outside sleeve, but it's kind of in rough shape. I gotta be careful with it. So, I mean, you can see, yeah, it's a little bit split. I gotta be careful with it because that can really, and It's just kind of like that, what do you call it, corrugated material or whatever. But let me show the booklet really quick. Wow. Like I said, the demos, that's where it is for me. The rest is nice to have too, but he's just a genius. This is one of my favorite pictures of him ever. I mean, you've probably seen that before, but just, yeah, there's good reading material in here, and then it has like, you know, the lyrics to the song, so that's nice to have too. So you really get the whole Lifehouse concept here. It is a 6 CD set, so there's some reworkings or reimagining of some of the tracks. There's some live stuff, the radio play. I'm gonna be completely honest, the first 3 discs are what I reach for the most in that, so I would say a bit more, but we do have a lot to cover in this video. But that is a huge grail for my collection. Pete is the master, the genius of all rock, and a discussion. Okay, so next we have a cool find from First Day Vinyl, and I talked about them in my last video. So let me explain how I got this. So they posted on Instagram kind of some new used arrivals, and I saw this and my jaw dropped, and I was like, oh, I gotta have that. But I knew I wasn't going to be driving down to Lincoln just for it. Like, so I asked them if they could ship it, and they said, sure, just go on our website and you can order it there. I was like, oh, really? Okay, so I jumped on there, toot sweet, and got it. And they included this really cool little drawing for me. Oh, what it is, by the way. You're probably like, well, that drawing doesn't make sense. Well, it does now because it's Moose XYZ. Let me take the price off of there. Yeah, this is an original UK pressing. Oh my god, this is so cool. And by the way, it was not that price. I will tell you what I paid for it. They had it listed for $35. I had a $5 off coupon. So yeah, I got a great deal on it, and they shipped it to me. So here's a record that really needs a reissue, right? In fact, their whole discography does. I don't know if you guys remember, I showed their first, or 3 of their early EPs that I bought either last year or the year before. I showed all of those. Those are so damn good. But this is an overlooked band from the early 90s. So yeah, First Day Vinyl, man, I gotta give them another shout for this, but this is so cool to own. Great price. This is such an excellent indie pop album from that era. Mitch Easter produced it, if that tells you anything. A cool tidbit about this is that if you're a fan of Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries, who sadly passed away, what was it, a couple years ago, she contributes vocals to a song called Soon Is Never Enough. Great song. I would also suggest checking out The Whistling Song and Little Bird. Yeah, excellent, charming acoustic pop. So they're kind of also lumped into the shoegaze genre. So Loop are next with Heaven's End. This is their first album. I never hear this band talked about, ever, unless I see it on like a shoegaze list occasionally. But from these guys, I also have Fade Out and A Gilded Eternity. That one is amazing. But how cool to find this. So this is like space rock, psych, shoegaze. They're a band to explore, and this is their first record, like I said. The production's not great on this, I will mention that. This is an original UK press, by the way. So adjacent bands would be Spacemen 3, which is the most obvious comparison. Jesus and Mary Chain. It's kind of stonerish, droney. I love the song Forever, as repetitive as it is. I just love it. So yeah, this is kind of like proto shoegaze as well. Let me know if you're into Loop. They did have a new album come out a few years ago that was pretty good as well. I never bought it, but if I ever see it, I may. So, okay, post-punk, Chameleons, The Fan and the Bellows. I have featured this band several times in the past, particularly in my post-punk series, so check out those videos if you want. I do have a lot of people come on my channel and be like, well, you need to check this band out or this band. It's like, well, I did. I know about them. I featured them in my post-punk series. But anyway, this is the UK press on Hybrid. Solid comp of their early material covering or spanning like 81 to 83. It's got some demos produced by Steve Lillywhite. Love the rawness of the tracks. I know many of you love Chameleons too. Let me know what you think of this lovely little comp. There's good stuff on here. I will show the tracks. I love the song Nostalgia. I really love that song. Okay. Local Fine. This is a band I talked about before on my channel. I have 2 other records by them. This band, so a viewer named Kurt sent me one of their records, Stations of the Crass. So thank you, Kurt. He's one of my pals here in the VC. He sent me that a few years ago, and that was my intro to them. And I also have a reissue of Penis Envy. But this is an early UK repress of The Feeding of the 5000. It's a 1979 repress. Gotta flip that over. So this is like, I've wanted this for a while. This is, and I got this down at 402 vinyl. Got the label. This is anarcho punk at its finest. Like, I suspect many cannot handle Crass or this album. It's just so rebellious and visceral. If you are gonna check out one song, you have to hear Do They Owe Us a Living. Other songs I really dig from this are Punk is Dead, Banned from the Roxy, They've Got a Bomb. Just, I mean, look at the cover, holy moly. This is great classic punk. Let's talk about another overlooked band in the post-punk genre, and I have you people to thank for introducing me to Essential Logic. Very underrated record. And like I said, someone dropped this name in one of my post-punk videos, but if you dig X-Ray Specs, like, here's where you go next. So Essential Logic with Beat Rhythm News from 1979. This is an original UK press. The great Laura Logic. She was an original member of X-Ray Specs, by the way. She wrote the saxophone parts for Germ-Free Adolescence. But this is like art punk, post-punk, more in the weird corner of post-punk for sure. It's messy and chaotic. Apparently this album was not released in America. There are killer bass lines on this, but check out World Friction and Collecting Dust. Those 2 songs I really dig. So, I was going to show the inner sleeve. And then because I mentioned Laura Logic, here's her brilliant solo album from 1982 called Pedigree Charm. If you can't handle Beat Rhythm News, then this is more accessible, I would say. Such an innovative, imaginative album. I love it. It's funky stuff, and I really love her vocals. So this is on Rough Trade. Yeah, I don't know if this has been reissued or not, but if you ever find that, definitely pick that up. Next, I want to talk about, these are kind of, alright, Dead Can Dance. So I found these on eBay from a Canadian seller, and they were sold together. I've wanted these on vinyl for a while, so these are original UK pressings, by the way. I found Spleen and Ideal, which is their second LP. This is very medieval, very goth, very emotional. I mean, look at that cover too. Love the cover art. 4AD. I love 4AD so much. Check out the songs Cardinal Sin, Enigma of the Absolute, and Avatar. I really love those. So there's that one. And then I found the follow-up album, Within the Realm of a Dying Sun. So yeah, 2 albums I really wanted for a while and got them together. So this is like top tier Dead Can Dance in my opinion. It's like a spiritual experience listening to these. It's otherworldly. Again, nailed it with the cover art, right? So fitting to the mood and overall sound. By the way, these aren't for everyone. It's Honestly, it's not something I will randomly put on. If I'm not in a certain frame of mind, then they are coming off the turntable pretty quick. So I have to be in the mood. But out of the two, I think I actually prefer Spleen and Ideal. But this one's also very, very worthy. So they're both such beautiful, underrated records. I love Kantara and Persephone on here. Lisa Gerrard's vocals are just sublime. Okay, and we have New Order. This is Movement. I found this early US press. I don't think it's an original, but I found it at 402 Vinyl. Excellent find. I do think it's an excellent pressing. So after Ian Curtis committed suicide, Ian Curtis from Joy Division, obviously, the band members carried on with New Order, and this is their New Order's first album. This is cold. There's phenomenal bass work, trademarks of post-punk, still very Joy Division-esque. So I love Dreams Never End, Truth, and The Hymn. Those are probably my favorites off of this one. So nice to finally get that one on vinyl. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired. All right, so next we have some grails from Cocteau Twins. And now I did a whole video on Cocteau Twins last year. I did a whole ranking. It was very much a deep dive. So I wanted to show that I acquired copies of Treasure. By the way, it's Treasure's 40th anniversary as of a few weeks ago, I think. This is the Canadian pressing on Vertigo. And it comes with a 12-inch of the IKEA Guinea EP, which is very cool. So Vertigo, by the way, the Canadian pressings, if you find them, this is the best sounding version of Treasure that I have in my collection. You can really hear the difference. So I also have the Canadian Vertigo pressing of Tiny Dynamine and Echoes in a Shallow Bay. So yeah, the Vertigo, if you ever find them, get it, seriously. And then this is a heavy high grail. So I found an original UK press of Heaven or Las Vegas. Oh my god, right? Right there. Since I already went in depth with them, I'm really just showing it here. I think I also showed this on my Instagram earlier this year, because I did acquire it earlier this year from my favorite online UK vendor. It was like $60. Now it goes for like 120 plus, I think. So I really got a good deal on that one. That was worth the money. The originals sound awesome. Oh, I gotta show this next, because we're still on Cocteau Twins. So this is simply just a collector's piece, you guys. This is not necessary. This is kind of like extra, you could say, but I did get the Cocteau Twins box set. It has their singles in it, like their 12-inch singles. You can see them right there. This is the US version of it. I got this and Clan of Xymox's Medusa from the same Discogs vendor. He cut me a really good deal for both. So I did not overpay at all. Like I said, this is not necessary. You're probably like, that's effing ridiculous, but not for me, because Cocteau Twins are probably in my top 3 bands ever. So it's yes, it's extra, but it's nice. What can I say? I'm a collector for my favorite bands. I will say that. Trust me, we're almost done. These are huge for me. My Bloody Valentine, Feed Me With Your Kiss EP, and then You Made Me Realize. I love the cover photo on that. I just love it. These are huge for me. Yeah, their stuff is hard to get. Previously I also have Tremolo and Glider. My Bloody Valentine vinyl collection is looking pretty good. So this stuff is so groundbreaking, you guys. I don't know what else to say. I've talked about them plenty. Shoegaze, like my favorite shoegaze band. So epic for me to have those. All right, last thing I want to mention. I received some VCLT from Nick. S. Yeah, he said he's sending me several packages, so thank you, Nick. And this is kind of like an underground post-punk band, and he sent me 2 records by Death of Samantha. I don't know if you guys have heard of this band. So this is one of their EPs, and he sent me their full-length Strung Out on Jargon. So 2 of these members played in Guided by Voices later on, which that was a really cool tidbit for me to learn about. So yeah, they're from Cleveland. These are from the 80s. They played with big bands like Sonic Youth, Nirvana, Replacements, The Gun Club. Like, there's a whole list. Their cover of Werewolves of London on this, it's hilarious. I really want you guys to hear this band. Please give them a listen. I hear a bit of like Ian Curtis as well as Jeffrey Lee Pierce in the vocals. I really do. They are on Homestead Records. This is really cool stuff, you guys. I hear Television in their music, Pere Ubu, a little bit of Velvet Underground. So, I mean, even REM, I would say. So, Killer Underground Post-Punk. Thank you again, Nick. This is really cool. All right, so that's the last thing I'm going to show. That's a wrap. Let me know if you're a fan of any of these records I showed, or what grails you've acquired recently for your collection. I actually took some out because they were like just teetering on that edge of, is this a true grail or something I love but not quite a grail? A lot of uncertainty with that, but plus this video is long enough. But I will mention, like, I acquired The Creature's Feast. I was like, well, maybe that's not quite a grail. And then I got 2 more Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry records, which that's one of my favorite post-punk bands, but yeah, I decided to leave them out because this is too long. So I am planning my next few videos, the best of 2024 albums. That one will take some thought. I've bought a lot of new music this year, actually, and I think it's been a great year for new tunes, don't you think? Like, I'm really excited for that. Maybe even better this year than last year. I think I also want to review my last 10 vinyl purchases for a separate video, but yeah, I'm gonna stop right now. Ta-ta. Let me leave your comments down below, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Later.